The dawning of a new era in CSB sports.
We're so awesome that even our school wants us. You got to come on here. AllNoiseRadio.com, baby.
Bringing you a wide variety of topics in the world of sports.
Hockey, basketball, baseball, football. Get ready.
We work hard. Love sports.
The knowledge.
I just want to make you look bad, Ruggs, because you always make me look bad with your sports intellect.
The passion.
Hey, Jimmy, you're going to be the best-looking guy in the unemployment line, buddy. What a disgrace.
It's the Zuki and Ruggs Show on All Noise Radio.
And live from the CSB studios in Stratford, Connecticut, it's the Zuki and Ruggs Show, covering a wide variety of topics in the world of sports. And we're going to get right into it with my partner, Zuki. We're going to talk about the hot topic in the world of sports today, and that is Donald Sterling's comments, owner of the LA Clippers, in some hot water, as is his team, if you watched yesterday's game. Zook, what's going on in La La Land, buddy?
I tell you what, man, La La Land never disappoints. This Donald Sterling, very bizarre. Let's just get started with it. TMZ broke the story on Sunday, and you hear it. It's just really odd. It's a phone conversation between him and his girl. The whole thing, I listened to it again coming in, bro. Honestly, the thing sounds kind of sketchy to me. I don't know if it's been doctored. Now, I'm not saying the guy's not a racist, whatever, but doctored in terms of like where they set the clips, because he almost sounds bipolar.
I know, and I'll be honest, Zook, I hear three letters TMZ, and I'm like already doubting the validity of the story. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, because we have Adobe Audition. We can cut stuff here. I could lay hey, dude, it's not very hard. We have Adobe Audition. That's what we use, folks, to edit our show. So he could have a soundbite, chop it up, put it in places, and you reel off a conversation. It's not even legit. I was listening to it, and it sounds edited. I could hear like his voice kind of dips in different areas, and the tones of his voice change, and he just goes. He sounds, like I said, he sounds bipolar, bro. He's like, in one respect, he sounds venomous and angry about his girlfriend socializing with African Americans. And then he sounds apologetic right after. He's like, I'm so sorry. We both made mistakes. I'm so sorry. And then he gets angry again. And I'm like, wait a minute. What is this? And she is, listen, I'm going to say this right now. She is totally egging him on. And I hate to say it. I don't want to use this term. It's for the lack of a better term. It was almost like entrapment, bro.
Yeah, who's recording this is my question.
Yeah. Her or somebody.
This up.
She calls him up. She comes with it right away. And he almost sounds like he doesn't want to fight. He's like, listen, I don't want. He said it repeatedly. Repeatedly, he says, I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. And then at the end, he says, leave me alone, which is really bizarre. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, it's like, wait a minute. Well, if a guy who's a full-blown racist, well, why would he say, like, leave me alone? It makes it almost sound like she's been calling him repeatedly and like trying to get him like annoyed to the point where he comes out with this. Again, I'm not going to try to defend the guy. Some of the things he said, whether doctored or where he said or not, he said them. You really can't alter the fact that he said some of the things he said. Why can't you do this in private? Why can't you socialize with black people? And we could play the clip for you. We could play the sound clip for you. Some separate clips here. And of Donald Sterling, and you can hear some of the quotes.
Yeah, no, I agree, Zook. And I'm appalled by what he said. I'll start by saying that, but it does. The man's in his 80s.
Yes,
he's an old man. He's from a bygone era. It's not very uncommon for people in the privacy of their own homes who don't think they're being recorded to say things of that nature. It doesn't make it right, but
right.
So, this isn't like the most shocking thing I've ever heard.
He didn't,
not by any stretch.
And let's remember, he didn't say the N-word.
Exactly.
He didn't.
Very true.
He didn't say, stop hanging around with these.
Yeah, because I thought for sure when I heard this story, when I went to go listen to the clip, that I was going to be laced with the N-bombs. It was not.
He didn't. Or any racial remarks. He did continuously say black people.
Yeah.
Which again, I know it's kind of like sugarcoating. The theme of it was racist, but he didn't use any racist language.
No, you're right about that. And again, when it's taken from the entrapment angle, like you said, I mean, it just makes the whole story a lot different and a lot less believable. But, we do want to play those pieces of those comments for you and kind of let you make up your own mind in case you haven't heard them. I know with the social media and the age of the smartphones, probably everybody listening by the time they've heard this has heard the clips themselves. But you got it on tap there, Zook?
Sure do.
I wish I can change the skin, the color of my skin.
That isn't the issue. You missed the issue.
What's the issue?
The issue is we don't have to broadcast it.
I'm not broadcasting anything. I don't do anything wrong.
Nobody said you did anything wrong.
I don't do anything wrong. If we ever have any issues, it's because people call you and tell you things about me that are not
Why
true.
are you broadcasting?
I'm not
Why
broadcasting
are you
anything.
taking pictures with minorities? Why?
What's wrong with minorities? What's wrong with black people?
Nothing.
What's wrong with these
It's like
families?
talking to an enemy. There's nothing wrong with minorities. They're fabulous. Fabulous. Because you're an enemy to me.
Why?
Because you don't understand.
I don't understand what.
Nothing.
That racism still is alive?
No, but there's a culture.
What culture?
People steal certain things. Hispanics steal certain things towards blacks. Blacks steal certain things towards other groups. It's been that way historically, and it will always be that way.
But it's not that way in my heart and in my mind.
But maybe you want to adjust to the world.
But why? If the world doesn't do anything for me and they don't make me happy.
You're like, I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to argue.
I can't be racist in my heart.
And that's good. I'm living in a culture, and I have to live within the culture. So that's the way it is. That's all. I got it. I got the whole message. You live with your heart.
I don't...
You can't be flexible. You can.
I am flexible. I understand that that's the way you were raised and that's your culture, and I'm respectful. And
Why do you have to disrespect them? Those that are...
Who am I disrespecting?
The world before you.
Why am I disrespecting them?
By walking, you perceive as either a Latina or a white girl. Why should you be walking publicly with black people? Why? Is there a benefit to you?
Is it a benefit to me? Does it matter if they're white or blue or yellow?
I guess that you don't know that. Maybe you're stupid. Maybe you don't know what people think of you. It does matter, yeah. It matters.
Do you know that I'm mixed?
No, I don't know.
You know that I'm mixed.
You told me you were going to remove those. You said, yes, I understand you. I mean, you change from day to day. Wow. So painful. Wow.
People call you and tell you that I have black people on my Instagram, and it bothers you.
Yeah, it bothers me a lot that you want to broadcast that you're associating with black people. You have to.
You associate with black people.
I'm not you, and you're not me. You're supposed to be a delicate white or a delicate Latina girl.
I'm a mixed girl.
Okay. Well, but
And you're in love with me. And I'm black and Mexican, whether you like it or not, whether the world accepts it
Okay, that's
or
where
not.
it gets a little bizarre. That's where things start to turn. As you can see, for this conversation, see, this is where it's getting really weird to me, Ruggs. Okay, he said some bad things there. You're a delicate little white Latina. It's like, really, bro? It's like, no,
Somebody's sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, no, she's not. And okay, and again, why do you have to broadcast it publicly? He's a little out of touch, Mr. Sterling. But at least we do have to understand one thing, and she nailed it on the head, actually. It is a culture thing, okay? It is a culture thing. And whether you want to accept it or not, get over it. It's the way it is. Elitists, okay? Wealthy elitists whom are white, okay? For the most part, don't marry interracially. Sorry. It's the way it is, okay? And certain religious groups who are wealthy, certain cultures, don't mix. Sorry. It's the way it is. Can I ask you a question? How many black princes are there in the English monarchy, bro? Huh? Okay. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. Sorry. It's the way it is. It's the way of the world. people don't mix. If you can't regulate it, it's just, hey, and that is the way he is, and he has the right to feel that way. It may be disgusting, may be grotesque, but he has the right to feel that way. You don't have to agree with it, but guess what? Get over it. I mean, sorry, that's just a sad truth.
And it's a passage of time, Zook, too, because you think if we were doing this podcast in, 35, 40 years ago, nobody would think anything of the comments. If we're doing the podcast 35, 40 years from now, hopefully they're even more appalling because even less people feel the way that Mr. Sterling does and at least use the language that they do. It's just one of those things that we're kind of like almost at a crossroads. Race relations have improved. They're not to the ideal level, but they're light years from what they were.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely they are. We've come a long way with racism. I think we actually spoke about this when we did the Michael Sam podcast. And, we've come a long way. I mean, hey, listen, this is an isolated thing with Donald Sterling. The bottom line is, where do we go from here? I mean, then we go on from, there's more comments. The whole thing actually stemmed from his girlfriend posting an Instagram with Magic Johnson. And this whole thing is really starting. This is where it stinks to me, where I smell a rat.
Yeah, you got a theory about this one, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, my theory is this. I think this whole thing is set up from Magic Johnson wanting to buy the Clippers. Listen, the guy owns the Dodgers, okay? He wants to rule L.A. We all know he's Magic Johnson. I think he wants to get his hands on the Clippers. And what better way than befriending his girlfriend and trying to entrap a known racist or a known bigot, or a guy who's known to not feel,
And he's an old man. He's not going to be around, too much longer.
Yeah, so why don't
he won't be around very much longer
no.
at all in L.A.
No, he's not.
Keeps these things up.
And he might be stressed. Yeah, he might not be around very long. So what better way to get into the Clippers than getting this guy out? The whole thing just stinks to me. It just I don't know. Some people don't like conspiracy theories. I just think it's common sense, to be honest with you. How does this girl go from posting an Instagram pic with Magic Johnson, then this, let's be honest, this whole phone call is shady. The whole thing is shady. It really is. The whole thing from start to finish is shady. And if you think this is one phone call, you're nuts. Because throughout the whole interview, or this whole phone call, this particular phone call, he says, why do you keep bothering me with this?
People in a relationship taping the other one is weird right off the bat. It just should never happen.
And listen, if you're stressed out about, we all say things out of frustration, or we don't mean. No one's perfect. I'm sure if someone video recorded me or you or anybody else, we'd say some things that are disgusting. But that's the way it goes. Hell, I see drivers, bro. And this is another thing that gets me crazy about America in general. It gets me crazy about people in general. We all stand on a soapbox now. We all want to stand atop, Donald Sterling's, mistakes and preach holier than thou. Suddenly no one's used a racial slur before. Suddenly no one's said anything bad before. All of a sudden now people call up, this guy's terrible. Oh, really? Really? You've never got cut off by a Spanish guy and said a racial slur? You never got cut off by a black guy on a highway and said a racial slur? You never had a black guy walking down the middle of the road or something, you said something? Come on, bro. Stop it. Stop the insanity. Let's stop all living like we're all holier than thou, because Donald Sterling now, that's the cool thing to do now. Let's all make ourselves look like we're better than Donald Sterling. There's no room for Donald Sterling. Oh, really? There's room for you. Okay. And I'll tell you another thing that drove me crazy is LeBron James. I mean, this guy's a clown. This guy's the biggest idiot I've ever seen in my life. You want to talk about a hypocrite? LeBron James? There's no room for Donald Sterling. Oh, there's room for you, though, LeBron? There's room for you to curse at officials and cry like a bitch when you get fouled? There's room for you because you got hit in your little mouth. Oh, I got hit in my mouth. To slam dunk the ball and stare down Michael Jordan? There's room for you, though, you jerk. Huh? Where would LeBron James be without the NBA? And without men like Donald Sterling. And I got news for you. If you think Donald Sterling's the only one who acts like this, you're sadly mistaken.
Well, and it wasn't just LeBron, though. I mean, you got, in fairness, Kobe Bryant.
But give me a break. There's
made
no
comments, and obviously we'll get into it in a minute about the spectacle before the game of the jersey turning inside out of the Clippers
that was
in protest.
Joke in and of itself.
It had mixed reactions among even people on the Clippers, Doc Rivers included, who is an African-American coach and obviously had to feel some, some ill will toward this comments, obviously, of Donald Sterling, but at the same time, he's out to win a playoff series.
That's right.
He doesn't want these kind of things to turn the team off of what their focus should be, and that's beating the Warriors yesterday. And let's be honest, they didn't show up.
They didn't show up.
Terrible.
Blown
out.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they were blown out. Sorry to step on the
No,
others.
no, absolutely not.
But I know we're running short on time here. We don't have much time. Bottom line is my personal opinion on this thing. Again, in closing, I'll say this: his comments were disgusting. Okay, some of his comments were. Again, I don't think they were overly disgusting because he didn't use any racial slurs. Okay, he just voiced his displeasure of his girlfriend socializing with African Americans, which is wrong. But for two things, not illegal, and it's his prerogative, and we have to remember that. So, I mean, I don't know what else you really want to do. I'm hearing stupid things. I mean, just really ignorant people coming on there saying they should strip him of the team. That's just total baloney. The guy has, first of all, he didn't break any laws. Okay, he really didn't. So what are you going to strip him of? Because he voiced his displeasure about his girlfriend taking a picture with a black guy? I mean, come on. He has the right to earn a living, whether he's a racist or not. He has the right to earn a living. And you want to suspend him? Fine. But this idea to castrate him is foolish. My opinion, I think the whole thing stinks of a trap. They're trying to get Donald Sterling out so Magic Johnson could come in there, take over the Clippers, and look like this great hero. Okay, the man who saved the Clippers from a racist tyrant, Donald Sterling. It reeks of it. Honestly, I'd like to know where Magic Johnson got all this money from.
How's he buying everything, Zook? I don't understand it.
My opinion is, I mean, it's another show for another time. It's a conspiracy thing, but I mean, I could go into it.
Go ahead. You got him. You got 60 seconds there, brother.
I would say the whole AIDS thing, him contracting HIV, was a sham. I think, in my personal opinion, I think it was a sham. They paid him to be an advocate for AIDS. They paid him to raise awareness. They paid him to go around and do everything he did in the 90s, raising awareness and stuff like that. He was a paid advocate. He made a lot of money for it, and that's where he made his money. I mean, let's be honest. When he was playing basketball, what was he making? $3 million a year? I mean, I know he had some sponsorships. I get that. Toward the
end of his career, it was even less.
Yeah, I mean, he had some endorsements, but he never had a big shoe deal. I mean, what was he doing with $3 million? I mean, okay, maybe what did he do? Put it in the stock market? And what was Donald Trump? He wasn't. I mean, what did he do with all that money? I mean, maybe he was hanging out with Jordan Belfort. I mean, give me a break. A little Wolf of Wall Street there. But I just think the whole thing's a sham. But I think that's the grand master scheme here. They're trying to get Magic Johnson to buy the Clippers, and they're trying to get this old racist white man out. And I think that's what the whole thing is. They're trying to trap him. I mean, how does his girlfriend go from taking a picture with Magic Johnson? Oh, and she at the end of it, she's like, "Oh, I admire Magic. I admire Magic." I'm sure you do. So, anyway, that's just my personal take of it. We'll see what happens. It looks like the new NBA commissioner is going to come out with a
what a predicament to find yourself in early in his tenure. He's got this to deal with, but hey, you wanted a job, Adam Silver.
Yep.
Strap him up and get to work.
That's it, man.
So on the other side of the break, we'll get down and dirty into these playoffs in the NBA and break down the Clippers-Warriors series, among others, and let you know how things are standing going into what's a crucial set of games tonight anyway. Back on the Zuki and Ruggs Show after this.
Our jobs occupy more than half of our waking hours. Shouldn't we be doing something we love? That's why in 1964 we founded Connecticut School of Broadcasting to give students the opportunity to do something they love.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting has placed thousands of graduates in a matter of months, not years. From camera operators and on-air personalities, video editors to voiceover artists. The possibilities are endless.
Today, Connecticut School of Broadcasting employs over 130 media professionals, training you on the latest latest software and equipment. Come on, life is more than just a 9 to 5.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting with locations up and down the East Coast from Massachusetts to Miami. Call 1-800-TV-RADIO or log on to GoCSB.com. Connecticut School of Broadcasting, the nation's oldest and largest group of broadcast media schools. Redefining training in radio, TV, and new media. Get trained. Get connected. 1-800-TV-RADIO.
106 miles to Chicago. Got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
All Noise Radio. All noise, all the time.
Hit it.
I'm a soul man.
All right, we're back on All Noise Radio, the Zuki and Ruggs Show. We're going to get into the NBA playoffs and where we stand right now with some of these series going on. Been a tremendous NBA playoffs. If you've been following, you know that to be true. As we speak right now, some of the games on the docket for tonight. Miami, Charlotte. Hey, give Charlotte a lot of credit. They've been trying to fight Ruggs.
Yeah, what a season for them.
Yeah, definitely a big turnaround for them. And kudos to Michael Jordan. Looks like he's finally built himself a nice franchise there.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get one tonight. It'd be nice. It's they're 8-point dogs in the game, which shows you at home what most of America thinks of their chances. But love to see him get one and just at least send it back to Miami. Not sure if I feel that's going to happen, though. To be honest.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But you never know. We'll see. But nonetheless, Charlotte's had a nice season. Steve Clifford, tremendous job over there. Kemba Walker's really emerged into a tremendous talent.
Big year for Al Jefferson.
Al Jefferson continues to be a very underrated big man in the game. Tremendous player. Doesn't get a lot of market, doesn't get a lot of hoopla or attention, but just continues to be a proficient player in the league. They really got a good core out down there in Charlotte, and so we'll see how Michael Jordan and the Bobcats continue to build their team towards the future. But as for this season goes, hey, do you take your medicine, and for a team you learn from this experience against Miami. You take this as a learning experience.
Yep.
Sure, you get your butts kicked, but you know what? Sometimes you have to get kicked in the butt before you learn to kick back. And hey, Michael Jordan did it. That happened to Michael too early in his career. Lest we forget that he lost some series to Boston and he got his butt kicked by Detroit before he finally ripped off 6 championships in 8 seasons. So, hey, no one wins championships in their first go around there.
Yeah, it'll be an oddity for Jordan to not have an early draft pick this year because usually that's the Bobcats' big decision is who we're going to draft with our lottery pick, but they don't have that this year, so it'll be interesting on how they do that.
Luckily for them, it's a deep draft, so they're probably still going to end up with a tremendous player. But in that regard, Miami most likely, eventually, if not tonight, they'll cruise on to eventually win that series. And I think they're just going to cruise to the friggin' Eastern Conference. To the NBA Finals. I can't. The way Indiana's playing now, and it looks like Chicago was, really tough all season. Looks like they're on the verge of getting bounced out. They're down 3-1 to Washington. They just don't have enough scoring, and we're seeing that. They ran into a team with a lot of scoring options in Washington, and Washington's just taking care of them. Washington, I tell you what, I'm saying it right now, Bruggs. I just kick it back to that series. Bro, I think Washington's going to Eastern Conference Finals. I really think if they get Indy, I think they'll beat them.
The way they're playing, I totally agree.
And if they get the Hawks, they'll definitely beat them. I love what I'm seeing from the Wizards. I knew this was a dangerous draw for Chicago on the last day of the year, and I know it sounds crazy. As a Bulls fan, I would have much rather gotten Brooklyn, but unfortunately they got Toronto.
Oh, absolutely. I think you're 100% right.
And I knew it was dangerous. I said, oh, boy. And I had a friend of mine say, hey, your Bulls better be careful. I was like, I know. Believe me, I know. But the Bulls' lack of scoring has really reared its ugly head in this series. They had enough to win 47 games during the regular season, which is just, again, as I said last week, just a testament of how great of a coach Tom Thibodeau is. But they just don't have any offense. Joakim Noah is not an offensive guy at all. He can drive it and lay it in, but, teams leave him open at the top of the key, whereas most big guys...
Yeah, he's not going to knock that shot down.
He's not even going to take it. He doesn't even look to take it. Boozer's been a total non-factor, and I think Carlos Boozer's days in Chicago are pretty much going to be over.
Yeah, it's looking that way, and that's been a major difference this year, is he just has not stepped up and been that replacement for the Deng not being there, and obviously the big bombshell, which was Derrick Rose missing, basically virtually the whole year again. And the combination of those two things, they haven't been able to recover. I have I don't know, something still tells me the Bulls aren't dead. Whenever you have 5 and 7 at home, if you hold serve, so to speak, on your home court, you really just have to get that one game. And there'll be a lot of pressure on, if the Bulls win Game 5, which I expect them to do, there'll be a lot of pressure in the building Game 6 in Washington for the Wizards to win that game, because then if you go back Game 7, not that they couldn't win because they've won a game already in Chicago, but
two.
Yeah, I'm sorry, they won the first 2 games. Yeah. Still, Game 7s on the road are not usually fun.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ruggs. The pressure will be on a young Washington team to close out a tenacious Chicago team. Well said. But we'll see. I do like the way Chicago finished up Game 4. They were down by 25, and they didn't quit, and they were able to make it a little bit of a game towards the end. They cut it to about 8, but it was too little too late. But I did like the way they finished Game 4, and I think that will be a precursor for them winning Game 5. I do agree. I think they will win Game 5 in Chicago. They will play with pride there. They will not.
Yeah, Tom Thibodeau makes sure you're going to play hard.
And
Joe
Keane, those guys are not going to lay down and die. No way. Moving on.
The other might as well stay in the East. We got 2 more series to talk about.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Especially since one of them's playing just about to tip off in a couple of minutes. You got Game 5 in that hotly contested 1-8 series, which a lot of people did not see coming, and that's the Indiana Pacers-Atlanta Hawks series. Series shifts back to Indiana for Game 5, and I don't know, Zook, Indiana, Jekyll, Hyde, what's showing up tonight?
Well, when they're Jekyll, they're okay. When they're Hyde, they're ugly. I expect them to win tonight. It's just, I just don't know what's going on with Indiana. They are a total mind eraser, if you will. You can't figure out Indiana at all. I mean, they're like, Einstein's theory of relativity, man. I mean, they really are tough to gauge. I expect them to win tonight, though. I just think they're at home, Game 5. I think they'll be able to rally and make a run here. I know I said that last week on the show.
I agree with you, though, and I think we both picked the Pacers in 7, and it's still kind of on target for that.
Sure, it's looking that way. So I got to think the Pacers will win. They had a nice win in Game 4 that kind of, you got to think that brought them together. Mm-hmm. They got the series back to 2-2. They can kind of say, okay, guys, let's just settle it down here. Let's go back home, and let's give these guys a good shot. Like I said to you off air, me and Ruggs were talking. The Pacers need one game where they really just crush Atlanta. They need a game where every shot falls. Hibbert and West are pushing guys, blocking shots, taking charges, getting up and just getting pumped up. They need guys like George Hill
needs to step up. We both said it at the same time.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Great minds think alike. And they really need everything to gel. They need that one game where everything comes together and they just thoroughly crush Atlanta. And then
Paul George needs to say, I'm the best player on the floor and play like it.
Exactly. And Paul George does need to dominate the court. He needs that one game where if you miss a shot, don't drop your shoulders and shrug and sulk. Okay? Just play ball. Be a baller. You miss a shot, get back on defense. Get back and just keep playing. Don't, sulk. Oh, man, I missed another shot. I'm 0 for 3. Oh, and then he gets that pouty little lip. You know what? Just man up and play ball. They need that. And I think they're going to get that. I don't know if it's tonight. Maybe it's Game 7. I just have this feeling the Pacers are going to have this one game where they just, I don't know why I feel I just have this feeling they're going to do it. I'm going on a hunch, really.
Well, one thing I'll say, Zook, I think no matter what happens in tonight's game, I like the Hawks in Game 6. So the Pacers better not let one get away here tonight, or it might be
I'll tell you what,
over for them.
I agree, bro, but I really think if tonight, let's just say my hypothetical.
Where they pound them.
Yeah, let's say that happens. I think they can finish them off in 6. But I think if they have another game where they escape like a 4-point win and it comes, like they've had in their 2 victories, then I definitely would.
But
bank,
as strange it is,
I would bet on Atlanta
as it is
win
to
game
say,
6.
I don't know that I see Indiana getting a 3-game winning streak, which is what that would be if they won in 6.
Right.
And that's strange to say a team that started the year like 18-2 or something of that.
29. I think they're like 29-4.
Yeah, I mean, so to say we don't know if they can actually get a 3-game streak against the Hawks, who are a losing club going into the playoffs, is kind of speaks volumes for itself right there. Yeah, big one tonight there.
It's been a great series.
Yeah, really has.
You know, we all know usually 1-8s are big disappointments, but not there. And another series that going out west in a game that that's on at 9:30 tonight, in a series that we sat here when the playoffs started and thought Dallas got a bad draw, but not so fast. San Antonio may have gotten themselves a bad draw. Hey, we knew Dallas was a tough 8 seed. I mean, to win 49 games and be an 8 is remarkable.
I'll tell you, Jose Calderon's playing unbelievable.
Dallas has got a tremendous ball club, man. I mean, they really do, and they're they
got some players. They picked up some players that a lot of people just didn't. All right, they got kind of just under the radar.
A big deal. Right.
Monte Ellis was the big one, and he's playing well also.
Oh, my God. He took over in game 3.
He really did. But Jose Calderon kind of went under the radar. When I saw that happen, I'm like, that's a big acquisition.
I always liked Calderon at Toronto. I always liked Calderon. Yep. Very underrated guard. Very underrated. Yeah, I mean, they've got players. They've got a hell of a team out there. I know they got some old guys in Marion and Vince Carter, but hey, Vince Carter came up with a huge
big shot.
Oh, my God.
Dirk, whenever it's playoff time, he's like Frankenstein's ghost there. He just kind of like he ratchets it up and he just zips to life. And
it's crazy, man.
All of a sudden, he's a top player in the NBA when the playoffs are going.
Yep. So that's been a great series. Like, I kind of thought it would be at first, but San Antonio always had Dallas's number. But that looks like it's got 7 written all over it. San Antonio
I picked a sweep for the Spurs.
Yeah.
So.
Well, not crazy at the time. I mean, San Antonio was rolling, man, when the playoffs started. I can't believe I'm going to say this. It's a must-win for San Antonio.
Definitely.
Must win. They have to win tonight to even this series up. I believe they will. I can't see San Antonio going down 3-1.
No, and they really could have still won game 3. Couple big shots really sunk them, and it looked like they were going to eke out of there with a win, and Dallas came back and stole it at the end. But like you said, they do not want to go down 3-1 in that series, and Dallas hasn't shown any fear of playing in San Antonio either. So it's not like Dallas couldn't close the series out if they got up 3-1. They couldn't go back down the Riverwalk there and close it out in San Antonio's building. But a lot more drama in that series than I anticipated, I got to be honest. The last series, real quick, we'll just bounce back to the East and just finish that off. The Raptors last night evened up that series with Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. I was actually a little surprised. I thought Brooklyn would take them 3-1, and then maybe Toronto would bounce back in Game 5 because I picked Brooklyn in 6. Now it's a different dynamic to that series. Like we said, though, in Anti-Francesa, we both did feel it was going to at least be a 6-game series, if not 7. And, he's got a little egg on his face there.
Yeah, Mike Francis is saying that basically Brooklyn was going to sweep Toronto. Mike, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're watching. This Toronto Raptors team was the 3 seed most of the season. I mean, really, 95% of the season, they were the 3 seed. I mean, they won their division for crying out loud, so come on, give me a break here. Yeah, I mean, they had a hell of a team with Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Amir Johnson, because we know basketball, we know their teams. We actually watch games. We don't just, turn games on the playoffs like some other sports broadcasters do. So I'm not surprised at all. And Brooklyn, they have trouble in the fourth quarter. Hell, if it wasn't for Paul Pierce, Toronto could be up 3-1 right now. If it wasn't for Paul Pierce's Game 1 heroics, you can't bank on that every day. And that's real disconcerting to me. If I was a Brooklyn Net fan, really, if you're relying on Paul Pierce to carry you through this series, you're in big trouble. Darren Williams.
It's got to be Darren Williams. I agree.
He needs to wake up. He is the biggest enigma in the NBA. He is really just... You talk about Jekyll and Hyde. You refer to the Pacers as Jekyll and Hyde. I don't think there's any bigger Jekyll and Hyde than Darren Williams. Like I said last week on the show, when he's on, he's one of the best point guards in the game. When he's off, he is off. He is bad. And Joe Johnson, again, he's another guy. He's a veteran guy. He's 31 years old, I believe. He's getting a little older. Sometimes he comes and goes too. He always has. Even his days with Atlanta, he was like that. So that's the thing. When you count on inconsistent players.
Right. And Joe Johnson really is their ace scorer now. Yeah. He needs to be leading and out front on that team. He can't be hiding in the background. In Atlanta, he had a couple other big-time guys around him. Yep. He might be trying to hide behind a couple of the experienced big names on this Brooklyn team. He's got to he's got to lead from the front, basically. He's got to step up, step out front, knock these shots down, take these games over. And last night was not an example of that. He just didn't do it.
Yeah, he disappeared in the fourth quarter, just like the rest of the team did. So if they continue that, they may be done. I'll be honest with you, I like Toronto to win Game 5. I think this is going to go 7. I think Toronto takes 5, Brooklyn takes 6, and then 7 is it's a crapshoot. You never know. Toronto's for real, folks. And if you thought Toronto, just because they're in Canada, their players ain't Canadian, okay? Their players ain't hockey players, okay? You're not going against Matt Sundin and Darcy Tucker and Ty Domi, okay? These are some. I know I'm going back like 12 years ago, Toronto.
No, but very young, athletic.
You know what
team.
I'm saying? These guys
Dangerous.
are for real. These guys are ballers. So definitely
similar to Washington, maybe not as much NBA tread on them, and I think that's the only difference why Washington might get out of the first round and maybe Toronto doesn't, but certainly a team that could be, a force to be reckoned with if they can keep together. That's always the problem you worry about in Toronto. Can they keep together? Are they going to get raided by the other teams with a little bit more money to spend in the offseason? One thing I was going to say about Darren Williams, quickly to go back to there's a reason why Jerry Sloan didn't mind making that deal. He's a very good judge of NBA talent and of NBA personalities. And that deal to send him to Brooklyn and get favors and picks and, to come back to Utah before he, made the exit there was not by accident. That was certainly something he felt that Williams was expendable.
Yeah, and he looks like he was right on that. He looks totally justified there. Other series we got going on West, I mean, you got, OKC, Memphis, which is, again, tremendous series. We knew it was going to be.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised about this series going long. I think it could very well be destined for a 7-gamer.
Oh, definitely. It's 2-2 as we speak. A lot of these series, are really just tremendous. Then we can go to Golden State, LA.
Yeah, we should get back to that because like we kind of teased in the last segment, it was no contest yesterday. Golden State wiped the floor with LA, and Steph Curry gets like sometimes Steph Curry gets and just is unconscious, made 7 threes in the game. Felt that pain as a Nugget fan last year. He just lit us up. And that team is dangerous when they're playing. When they shoot the ball well, there's not a tougher out in the league, I don't think. But this year it's been a little bit more hit and miss. And, LA still to me has the more complete team. But now I had picked the Clippers in 7, and I believe Zook picked the Warriors in 7. I'm actually going to jump ship on my pick because with all this stuff going on, I can't see the cohesion there for the Clippers enough to get through this series. The Warriors are too good.
Well, I'll say this real quickly about the Clippers. Doc Rivers here needs to prove his worth.
Yeah, he's the one guy that can save him. You're right.
Yeah, he needs to prove his worth here and say, guys, listen, forget about our owner, forget about him, forget about the things he said, okay? We need to rally around each other, and what you do is you play for the Los Angeles Clippers, and that's why I think what the Clippers did last night was disgusting. I think it was disgusting. To do that to your jersey, throw it on the floor, is just the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen in my life.
I don't mind team solidarity and shows of solidarity, but I think there was a better way to do it.
Disgusting. And I can't rally around a team like that. I mean, what you basically just did there was just, I don't want to use this term, but you pretty much vindicated Donald Sterling by acting like that. You don't play for Donald Sterling. You play for the Los Angeles Clippers. You play for the city of Los Angeles and the fans of the Clippers. And what you did there was just spit in the city of Los Angeles' face and on Clippers fans. And if I was a Clippers fan, I wouldn't show up to your lousy game, okay? I'd say, you want to turn my jersey inside out and throw it on the ground? Well, screw you. I'm not coming to your game to support you either. The fan. Let me tell you something about fans too, guys. You out-of-touch millionaires. You want to talk about Donald Sterling being an out-of-touch millionaire? I think these guys are a bunch of out-of-touch millionaires. You know who the fans come to see? They don't come to see Donald Sterling. They come to see Chris Paul. They come to see Lob City. Okay? They come to see Blake Griffin. They come to see DeAndre Jordan. They come to see some slam dunks, a high-octane offense with a chance to get out of the Lakers' shadow and win a championship. They don't come for Donald Sterling. How dare you throw your jerseys in the ground like that and disrespect the NBA and disrespect the city of Los Angeles and disrespect the Clippers organization? Okay? Shame on you. Forget about Donald Sterling. He has the right to his opinion, even though it's wrong. And you have the right to throw your jersey in the ground. But you know what? That was disgusting what you did. That's wrong, man. You don't do that because you don't play for Donald Sterling. All he does is sign your checks. Okay, that's all he does. He signs your paychecks. That's all he does. You don't play for him. You play for the city of Los Angeles. You play for the Clippers fans, not just in L.A., all around the country. That you play for those little kids, Chris Paul, CP, which you're a jerk in and of it. We all know your history in New Orleans, how you cried your way out of New Orleans, lest we forget about that, okay? And you play for those little kids that sit there in front of that television and idolize you and want to be like Chris Paul, okay? And you throw your jersey on the freaking court floor, on the floor. What is that telling those little kids? It's okay to quit, and then you play like crap. Shame on you, man. I can't feel sorry for the Clippers. I can't sympathize with their players, and I won't sympathize with their players. That was disgusting. Shame on you. Shame on the Clippers. So I hope Golden State crushes them. And you know what? That's why the Clippers are the Clippers, and the Lakers are the Lakers, okay? Because Kobe Bryant wouldn't have done that. Kobe Bryant would have said, I don't care what the buses have to say, if it did happen. Not that it would.
No, and he would have went out there and stuck it to the other team and taken his aggression out on the other team.
Yeah, damn right. He would have dropped 60 on another team. Not throwing his jersey on the court like a little baby and quit. You quit on the city of Los Angeles, you quit on the Clippers, and you quit on the Clippers fans. Shame on you. You're a bunch of softies, and that's why Golden State's going to eat you up, and you're going to be forever a bunch of losers.
Zook, real quick, because we're up against a break here. Last series to talk about, another exciting one, overtime games galore. 3-1 Portland, though. Has Houston got any shot at coming back?
No, they don't. My pick to win the West is going to be wrong, but...
I think they'll get out of Game 5, though. Are you with me on that?
I don't know. They've lost too close. I don't know if they have what it takes to win a close game against Portland. Portland always seems like they have that little extra to beat Houston. Hey, listen, Houston's not getting embarrassed here. They're losing a bunch of close games here.
No, every game in the series, basically.
No matter. I mean, I know James
Harden.
I know James Harden's getting critiqued and criticized for his lack of defense and what have you, but whatever, dude. Portland,
they didn't get James Harden for his defense, so
yeah,
that's
give me a break.
You had to expect that.
Hey, give me a break. I mean, Portland's a tough team, and they're a deep team, and I think Portland will wrap them up. No, Houston's got no chance to win this series.
All right, I say it in 6.
Yep.
All right, we're going to a break now. We'll see you on the other side of the break and delve into the hockey playoffs. The other playoffs going on now in the world of sports. Back after this on All Noise Radio.
When you need a cup, pour some sugar on me.
Shook up ramen?
Yeah, soup.
Freeze. A call to the library could help her out. Good thing T-Mobile lets her call whenever she wants. Go.
Says here, pour some sugar on me. I'm hot, sticky, sweet.
The most whenever minutes, free long distance and roaming. Only from T-Mobile.
Get more.
All Noise Radio. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
I cannot believe this. This is the best news I've had all week.
And I know I can't live without my radio.
I'm sick to death of your mess and your noise.
The noise you can't ignore. Back on the Zuki and Ruggs Show, getting into the playoffs that are played on the frozen ponds of the NHL. And Zook, pretty exciting series. Not for us personally, because we're all done, both of us.
Yeah.
So we're like the brotherhood here of the demise.
Yeah, we're crying in our beer here at All Noise Radio, Ruggs and myself.
Yeah, we serve beer at All Noise Radio.
Yeah. I wish we could drink our sorrows away. Well, not too surprising. Hey, listen, the Boston Bruins are a hell of a hockey team. Congratulations to them. I usually hate teams that eliminate my team in the playoffs, but I really don't hate Boston. I really like their team a lot. Got a lot of respect for Boston. They're a deep team. They really play hard. I love the way they play hockey. Tuukka Rask, man. Rask, however you want to pronounce his name. I always like to say Rask, the European way. But he's just a hell of a goalie. He's another guy, people don't really give him a lot of credit, but he is tremendous. He really played so well in that Game 3 in Detroit. Come back there, 1-1, and you're thinking, okay, if Detroit can just take one here. And Detroit actually played really well in Game 3, but they just couldn't get one by Rask, and Boston was able to hold a 2-0 lead for most. They got an empty netter, so I really consider it a 2-0 loss. But, I mean, it's 3-0, but it was an empty netter to end the game. But, really, I mean, Boston's tremendous. Detroit played pretty well. I mean, outside of Game 2 on Easter Sunday, they kind of got beat up a little bit there. But
Game 4, they controlled a good portion of play.
Yeah, they did. I mean,
they get enough goals by Rask. Like you said.
They scored 2 early. They were up 2-0. You're thinking, okay, and then Boston scored 1 early in the third to tie it at 2. It gets to OT, and then Boston, they take. Hey, that's what they always say in hockey, man. You know what? Put the puck on net. You never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The thing hits off 18 sticks, 18 skates, goes off Danny DeKeyser's leg, whoop, right into the goal. Boston wins the game, and you knew at that point Boston was on their way to just wrapping up the series. And it is what it is. Congratulations to the Bruins. They get to meet the Montreal Canadiens in the second round, who just thoroughly disposed Tampa Bay. Well,
it's a spiced up series for an old set of rivals.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's always a fun series. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it.
I wouldn't have given Montreal a chance before I saw them dismantle Tampa Bay, but now you never know. I just think Boston. I mean, they're like surgeons on the ice. They just carve you, to pieces. And I think they're going to be too much for Montreal. But
I agree. Should be a great series nonetheless. Though Montreal is really good, though. I wouldn't give them no chance, but I like Boston to win that series. And your team, Ruggs, I just think you guys really, you guys played well, man. You lost some close games. St. Louis has got a hell of a team.
Story of the Blues' existence.
I know. It's just
not a playoff team.
Why don't they get scoring? Just get a scorer. Bring a scorer to St. Louis. You guys got good defensive two-way players there. I mean, you got some scoring. I mean, Alexander Steen, I'm a big fan of Alexander Steen. I love Alex Steen. You got great defensemen. Your defense is solid. Your goaltending, Ryan Miller's pretty good. I don't think he's as good as advertised.
No, I think he's overrated. I'll be honest.
I'd be honest.
I didn't think it was a great deal at the end of the year. It was not necessary.
I didn't think you guys. I thought Halak was fine.
Yeah.
Brian Elliott too. I thought you guys had a good.
I almost think that maybe the Olympics did something to the Blues' psyche. They saw Halak struggle in the Olympics, and I think they went and triggered a deal. Thought maybe this wasn't going to be the guy that could get it done, but the Olympics are not.
They're not
the NHL season. It's
not a good barometer.
The right barometer, exactly.
Yeah, I mean I agree. Maybe that is the case. You might have something to that, Ruggs. Actually, I never thought of it. Never thought of it that way.
Like you said, you mentioned Tuukka Rask. He had a couple of rough games in the Olympic tournament. It bounced back at the end and had a big win against the U.S. But I mean, there's no more dominant goalie in the playoffs right now than Tuukka Rask. I mean, one does not rub off on the other.
Right. I agree. So hopefully, you guys get a score there. You guys aren't far away from being a Stanley Cup contending team. I really don't think so at all. If you're the Blues, and the Blackhawks are just so good. I mean, they really are so good. I mean, I hate to say it.
They are. They're underseeded.
They're the team to beat. I mean, they are the team to beat. Just think, St. Louis just didn't have enough. But we'll see. I mean, as the playoffs progress, Anaheim's really good. And Anaheim, who really had an impressive series-clinching win last night.
Yeah.
Down 2 goals late, right, Ruggs? I think it was
Give the nod to the Stars. They played a great series.
They did.
I actually thought they were going to make it 7.
I picked the Ducks to sweep.
Yeah.
So the Stars, they definitely showed up. They played well.
Yes, certainly. And we got another interesting one brewing. I had picked the Kings to win this series and looked very bad when it was 3-0.
Yeah.
But now it's 3-2 going back to Staples. Good chance for the Kings to try to stay alive. Do you think tonight they can extend this series one more game and go back to the Shark Tank?
I think they do, Ruggs. I think they're going to do it.
I'm with you.
I think they're going to win this game and take it to Game 7. It's like I was telling you off the air, Ruggs, and I'll just share it. I mean, I'll tell you a story from 3 years ago, 2011. The San Jose Sharks got out to a 3-0 series lead against Detroit. Looked like Detroit was just, dead on the ice there. And then Detroit ripped off 3 wins in a row and was able to force a Game 7 to San Jose. And eventually San Jose won Game 7 and did avoid the 3-0 choke job that Boston had in 2010 to Philly. So I think it's eerily similar to that, and I think it's going to happen. I think LA is going to win Game 6.
It's amazing how many times in hockey that the 3-0 series momentum is just so much different in hockey than any other sport. How a lot of 3-0 series get at least a 3-2, even more get 3-3, which doesn't happen really at all in baseball. Let's say for once, it's very uncommon.
Right.
Then we've even had the all the way comeback, like you said, Philly over Boston, 4-3 with 4 wins in a row. How the momentum can just change on a dime in these series doesn't happen the same in the NBA or in Major League Baseball, even more so.
I think it has to do with the goalie, Ruggs. You're very right. You're dead on right about that, Ruggs. The NBA doesn't happen very often. Usually, if you're down 3-0 in the NBA, your goose is cooked. Same thing in baseball as well. I mean,
most times it doesn't even go past 4.
No, I mean, very rarely. I mean, the only time, not to rub it in.
Yeah.
I
didn't even want to bring it up because I knew we'd end up there.
To Boston. Oh, it doesn't happen very often because I think in hockey is because of the goalie. I think if your goalie can turn things around, stand on his head, you're only as good as your next day's goalie in hockey. Just like in baseball, you're only as good as your next day's pitcher. And these goalies are really, you think relief pitchers are, weirdos when it comes to psyche. Goalies.
Goalies are strange ducks.
They really are strange. We look at Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, Fleury, one day you can watch Fleury and be like, wow, this guy is tremendous. And then you watch him another game, you're like, this guy's a pro? It's like, he is.
It's uncanny.
He really is inconsistent.
The difference, though, and that was an excellent point, Zook, how you've put that. The difference is your next day's starting pitcher is a different guy.
Right.
Generally, in some platoon situations work, but generally your hockey goalie, once you hit the playoffs especially, is going to be the guy you're going with. That guy can get in a zone and stay in it. You can run him out there.
My point is these guys' psyche are so strange, these goalies. They're almost like different people on different days.
So if you're up 3-0 and things go bad, sometimes they snowball.
But depending on the psyche, and sometimes guys will just get into his own, like, okay, whatever, this is game 1, I have to focus, and they take each game as game 1, and then they play well. It's really weird. I think it really depends on the goalie, and I think a lot of hockey is just more of a resilient sport. I think you get a lot of these guys who just. A lot of times you push these guys back to the wall and they hit back. They really, they're just, you see it in hockey. You see it when guys charge the net and there's a melee in front of the goal. These guys don't let you skate in front of the net and say, okay, guys. Oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to bump you last shift. Okay, great game.
Exactly. And you're kind of ingrained when you play hockey, even as a kid. There is no give up in hockey players. There is no, well, let's hang our heads, we lost.
Yeah, no.
It's just a fight every time out.
That's
so they don't care, we're down 3-0. Yeah, we might as well start thinking about next year. You're not going to see that in hockey. There's too much pride on the line. There's just too much. I mean, they just see the other team and they want to beat them down. Even if they know they can't win 4 in a row, maybe deep down inside, they're not going to play that way. They're going to play to beat the other guy's brains in and then shake hands afterwards. That's the beauty of hockey, really, is the way these guys can assault each other barely legally sometimes and then come and shake hands and hug after the game. You couldn't see that in another sport.
No,
if things get like that, those teams are hated rivals and don't speak to each other. You get Yankees, Red Sox kind of thing going on where there's no friendship between teams at all, and if you have a bench clearing brawl in a Yankee Red Sox game or a Dodger Giant game or something like that, or in football even worse if there's a fight off the field or on the field, it's just total mayhem. Hockey, that happens every night, and these guys just shake hands and go. And rarely do you see where a team will beg off of a handshake afterwards or skate out the door and be that mad at the other team. It's just kind of the code of honor of Warriors. These guys played a sport that way, and that's how these playoffs have certainly lived up to that with a lot of really tough series.
Yeah, I mean, another one's Colorado, Minnesota, which we kind of knew off the get-go was going to be a hell of a series and hasn't disappointed. Colorado up 3-2. I think that's definitely going 7.
Yeah, Minnesota's got to win tonight to keep it alive.
That had 7 written all over from the get-go. That's just been a tremendous series. Minnesota's now, the 2 big free agent signings, people are like, well, how is this going to work? It's working. Zach Parise is playing great. Ryan Suter is showing why he is one of the best defensemen in the league. They're playing well. So
I'm not impressed so far with Colorado the way they're not differentiating themselves from Minnesota. They're playing pretty much at an even level to me from what I've seen in the series. I've watched a few of these games now, and to me it's a coin flip. I just think Colorado with the home ice advantage might end up winning it in 7.
Yeah, that looks that way. It looks that they're both evenly matched teams, which is the reason why I thought it was just going to be a great series.
We went on the air and said how little home ice means in hockey, and the West has been almost entirely won by home teams. All the games. That's to me is an oddity. It's not the rule; it's the exception. The East is a little bit more like what you'd expect. A lot of road wins. Still, 60% wins, I'd say, by the home teams in the East, but like 90 in the West.
Yeah.
You got the Penguins looking to finish off the Blue Jackets. They're up 2-0. We'll give you a little score update here at the first intermission.
Oh, 3-0 now.
Oh, it just went 3-0 early in the second. So there's a Johnny on the spot Zuki over here with an update. It looks pretty much like it's curtains then for Columbus. I'd be surprised if they were able to rally.
Definitely. They need a Boston miracle, reminiscent of Boston's Game 7 last year against Toronto. And another great series, which we kind of knew. I picked it to go 7. I think a lot of people did. New York, Philly. Been a good series. And some of the games haven't really been close, but the series has gone back and forth. The Rangers are up 3-2. I fully expect Philly to win Game 6. I
do too. But
it's got 7 written all over it. It really does. It's been a hell of a series. The bad blood brewing between Giroux saying stuff and all of that jazz. But both these two teams don't like each other. It's New York, Philadelphia. I love the theater. I love the fact these guys are talking and fighting and hitting. I love it. It's good for hockey. We've had some good series in hockey. This playoffs. We really have. I think the NHL got some good series. You had the. New York, Philly. You're going to get Boston, Montreal. Now, even Boston, Detroit, nice original 6 matchups, always fun.
Yeah, how good is that in the first round?
Yeah, Chicago, Philly. Chicago, St. Louis was a tremendous series. Sorry, Ruggs, you know what I mean, though. As a hockey fan.
It was.
And, LA,
games.
LA, San Jose has been a tremendous series. Minnesota, Colorado, great job through and through by the NHL. They've got to be happy with the way these playoff matchups.
Yeah, I was entertained watching the Anaheim Dallas series.
Yeah, really. Hell, even Columbus is making Pittsburgh sweat. And I thought I gave Columbus maybe one game, but they've made them sweat. Now tonight's a different story. Pittsburgh's killing them. Pittsburgh's going for the jugular here. Columbus made them sweat. I got a Penguin buddy of mine. He's been doing this, texting me, flipping out. So that tells you right then and there, Columbus has been doing a good job being a big pain in the ass for the Penguins. And that's really all you want to do. When you're overmatched and you're not going to win, okay, maybe you don't win the series, but be a big pain in the ass. And that's exactly what Columbus has done. So good job to them on that.
Yeah, Zook, let's put our prognostication hats on real quick. Let's look ahead possibly at some matchups. We know look at the East. You got Boston, Montreal already.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to get either Pittsburgh, it looks like. Let's write off Columbus.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We have to. We're not going to wait till the game ends, so we're going to call it now, like election night. We'll call that state for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're going to either get Philly or the Rangers.
That's
another
awesome.
Hate fest going on there. You're going to have just 2 Royal Rumbles in the East.
Right.
The West, you're going to end up with Chicago moving through now. Who do they set up playing against? Do you know that offhand? I think it's put you on the spot.
I think it's going to be Anaheim. I think Chicago was the 6th seed, weren't they? They're the lowest seed still going, I think.
So they're going to have to play the highest seed left, which, like you said, it would be Anaheim. So Blackhawks, Anaheim would be a great series.
That's the series. Yeah.
And then you end up with
either
we don't know if
Colorado, Minnesota, and then San Jose, LA, which is. I think it's going to be a good series. Not very sexy in terms of namesake, but all 4 of those teams are excellent.
Right. So 3 out of 4, though, you have legitimate bad blood.
Ducks, Blackhawks going to be a nice series. That's going to be a good series.
All great series. You're not going to get a
stinker,
yawn,
no way.
A yawn fest in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I don't think so, because the Penguins aren't unbeatable. Sure, they've got great names, but they're no longer this scary team.
I think they're going to have a very hard time getting through the next round.
I do. I think the Rangers could beat them. Definitely.
I do. Even Philadelphia.
Oh yeah,
Philly matches up well.
The Flyers have had their number all year. The Flyers have had Pittsburgh's number all year. So hockey's exciting, man.
It is.
We're big hockey fans, and hockey's a great game, man. It's in the playoffs. There's in my opinion, no disrespect to the NBA or the baseball or even football. But there's nothing like the NHL playoffs, in my opinion. This is just each game is played like it's the last game, and I really love the NHL playoffs. Huge fan, and I think it's going to be. I think the whole tournament's going to be excellent. I really do. From start to finish.
Looking forward to coming back next week and talking with you again, my good friend.
Yeah,
and
thank
breaking
you for all
down those matchups.
Oh. Yeah, and thanks to all the fans. Thanks to subscribers. Thanks for all the likes on Facebook and stuff. And we're going to start really broadening our horizons, man. Catch us on iTunes, Twitter. We're going to get our Twitter page up and going real soon. Yeah, great show. Would you just do me a favor, Ruggs? I'll see you next week, pal. But do me a favor, just keep things private. If you just don't broadcast. Which you do, okay?
All right. Don't set me up for entrapment, and I won't.
Don't record my phone.
Exactly.
When you call me next week, when you call me for prep next week, don't record, okay? Please don't entrap me. Just do things privately. Please stop it.
Yeah, because you're not Catherine Zeta-Jones crawling through laser beams, so I'm not going to entrap you there, buddy.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Catherine Zeta in a cat suit. Later, everyone.
All Noise Radio. Like Flavor said, that's how these songs kill the noise. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. The noise you can ignore. Pay attention.